Here's the interesting part. Have you ever thought to yourself, have you ever really sat down, I was just thinking about this morning, and calculated how many hours you spend at work? What's the average work week? 40. Most of us don't work 40, but you're right, it's 40. A lot of us work 50, 60, 70, 80 hours. Let's just say we're not overachievers, we just want to be the average. 40 hours. 8-hour day, right? Have you ever calculated how many hours that is in your life? Have you ever thought about that? I'm going to do a little quick math. I already did the math, you can check me on it. 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, right? Because we get this glorious amount of time of 2 weeks vacation. That goes like that in a blink of an eye. So let's just say for 50 weeks out of the year, you're working. That's 2,000 hours a year that you give to your boss. Most of us have to work 40 years before we get to that wonderful stage. At 2,000 hours a year, for 40 years, that is 80,000 hours. Have you ever thought about that? Anybody ever think about that? You spend 80,000 hours for sometimes people that we don't even know our name. Some of us are completely anonymous. We're just numbers in this little cog of a machine. But we worry about it, don't we? We worry about how we're going to look at our job, how we're going to feel when we get to work, what they're going to think about us. I know for some of us, that's, we do more. Some of us are overachievers. Some of us do a little less. But that's the average time that we spend trying to make a living. We're trying to make a living, but we're not actually living, are we? We're spending a lot of time making a living, but we're not living. We're waiting for this moment where we hope that at the end of the rainbow, we'll have a pension, a retirement, some kind of nest egg, we'll have something that will make us feel great. And then we can eat, drink, and be married and enjoy our life. But God is telling us to enjoy our life right now. Right now, in the moment. Because guess what? You don't know what the next moment will be. Just like this rich fool, he didn't realize that he accumulated all this blessing because he was already rich, by the way. It says that in the parable. He was already rich, and then he got more. But it never occurred to him to say, I wonder if my neighbor needs something. It never occurred to him to say, I wonder if there's something better that I can do with this blessing that I have, because I have an overabundance of it. How many of us have always wanted to go and look for a bigger house? I realized it. I was looking for a house. We were just talking about this. I'm thinking to myself, one moment, I had a moment of clarity, and I said, why on earth would I want a bigger house? I'd end up putting more stuff in it. And I have more stuff. Have you ever gone into your attic, your basement, your garage, and realized, what is this stuff? And why do I have so much of it? I have so much that I have to go get a storage place, right? Or I have to go get a bigger house. We're not much different, are we, than this man in the parable? We go, you know what? I got so much stuff. I really should get a bigger house. I'm going to tear this one down and make a bigger one. We never think about that, do we? We never think about how much time we spend at our job to get stuff that we store away and never look at. Have you ever noticed that? I've seen some people that have had closets where they have so many clothes that the tags are still on them. They never used them. You ever heard that? Maybe it's not clothes. Maybe it's tools. You have tools that you have in your they were in there. We all do this at some point. And we wonder, how much time do we give God? You ever calculate that? I did that calculation too. I figured, all right, if the preacher is a little long-winded, maybe 2 hours, right? You've got a lot to say. Maybe, maybe you're in a little bit more of a congregation where they kind of take it a little bit deeper and you go a couple of hours. Maybe you go to a church where they have maybe a Bible study during the might have another 2 hours. Let's just say we give God 10%. Give him 4 hours out of our week, out of the 40-hour work week. But guess what we expect out of God? Everything. You see, we give our employer almost our entire life. We give God 10% of our life, but we want everything from God. We want health. We want wealth. We want a great relationship. We want our family to be fantastic. We want to travel safely. We want to get the parking spot in front of the door. We want all the things that we want. I mean, sometimes they're silly, sometimes they're huge things, but we want it all. You know that God doesn't want to spend 10% of his time with you? Have you ever thought about that? I mean, he'll accept the 10%, but the reality is God wants to spend every moment with you. And most of us haven't figured that out. We think, well, I come to church. Right? Some of us even go crazy. We'll give 10% of our income. That's definitely got to be enough. But I wonder sometimes, when we start to do the math, and we start to calculate what's really important in our lives, when we start to realize that I have this blessing for a reason. I have this life for a reason. Some of us say, well, I'm not wealthy. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're living in this country, you're more wealthy than most of the population of the world. If you're living in this city, and you're living in this city, you're more wealthy than most of the people in this world. You probably don't realize that. You probably never occurred to you. But it's true. So the question is, what's the priority? What's the priority? How much time do we really spend pursuing God? I mean, let's face it, you're only giving the preacher maybe 20 minutes of your time. I know he might talk for 40 minutes, but you only gave him 20 because that's about as much as you're going to remember. You might even remember a little less now because, we have videos that are only 2 minutes long, so it's really hard for us to pay attention. But the reality is that's about all you're getting. The reality is most of our life, if we really sat down and thought about it, calculated it, is spent thinking about things that will not matter in eternity. When it's all over, it won't matter. It won't matter about what car you drove, or what zip code you were in, or what job you had. I say this because I had to deal with someone who passed away, and we know that person who's here. And I thought, this was the sum total of what people will remember. Stack of bills, and some paperwork, and a few things that he might have written. And I thought to myself, wow, most people won't realize what your life was about. Because you spent your life trying to impress people with things that don't matter.